Beowulf, Anonymous. First battle. Beowulf begins with the story of King Hrothgar, who built the great hall Heorot for his people. In it he, his wife Beowulf, and his warriors spend their time singing and celebrating until Grendel, who is angered by the singing and an outcast from society, attacks the hall and kills and devours many of Hrothgar's warriors while they sleep. But Grendel dare not touch the throne of Hrothgar because he is described as protected by God. Hrothgar and his people, helpless against Grendel's attacks, abandon Heorot. Beowulf, a young warrior, hears of Hrothgar's troubles and with his king's permission then leaves his homeland to help Hrothgar. Beowulf and his men spend the night in Heorot. After they fall asleep, Grendel enters the hall and attacks, devouring one of Beowulf's men. Beowulf, pretending to be asleep, leaps up and grabs Grendel's arm in a wrestling hold, and the two battle until it seems as though the hall might fall down due to their fighting. Beowulf's men draw their swords and rush to his help, but their swords do not pierce Grendel's skin, because he put a charm on all human weapons. Finally, Beowulf tears Grendel's arm from his body at the shoulder, and Grendel runs to his home in the marshes to die. Second battle. Grendel's mother. The next night, after celebrating Grendel's death, Hrothgar and his men sleep in Heorot. Grendel's mother appears, however, and attacks the hall. She kills Hrothgar's most trusted warrior, Aesir, in revenge for Grendel's death. Hrothgar, Beowulf and their men track Grendel's mother to her lair under an eerie lake. Beowulf prepares himself for battle. He is presented with a sword, Hrunting, by a warrior called Unferth. After stipulating a number of conditions upon his death to Hrothgar, including the taking in of his kinsmen and the inheritance by Unferth of Beowulf's estate, Beowulf dives into the lake. There he is swiftly detected and attacked by Grendel's mother. Unable to harm Beowulf through his armour, Grendel's mother drags him to the bottom of the lake. There, in a cavern containing Grendel's body and the remains of many men that the two have killed, Grendel's mother and Beowulf engage in fierce combat. Grendel's mother at first prevails, after Beowulf, finding that the sword, Hrunting, given him by Unferth, cannot harm his foe, discards it in fury. Again, Beowulf is saved from the effects of his opponent's attack by his armour, and grasping a mighty sword from Grendel's mother's armoury, which the poem tells us no other man could have hefted in battle, Beowulf beheads her. Travelling further into the lair, Beowulf discovers Grendel's corpse. He severs the head. Beowulf then returns to the surface and to his men at the 9th hour. He returns to Heorot, where Hrothgar gives Beowulf many gifts, including Naengling, his family's heirloom. Beowulf returns home and eventually becomes king of his own people. One day, late in Beowulf's life, a slave steals a golden cup from an unnamed dragon's lair at Ernennes. When the dragon sees that the cup has been stolen, it leaves its cave in a rage, burning up everything in sight. Beowulf and his warriors come to fight the dragon, but only one of the warriors, a brave young man named Wiglaf, stays to help Beowulf, because the rest are too afraid. Beowulf kills the dragon with Wiglaf's help, but Beowulf dies from the wounds he has received. After he is cremated, Beowulf is buried in Gateland on a cliff overlooking the sea, where sailors are able to see his barrow. The dragon's treasure is buried with him, rather than distributed to his people, as was Beowulf's wish, because of the curse associated with the hoard.